Hey guys, what's going on today? Here, just Fat Matt, and today I'm just gonna say I was wrong about shotzzy when I made my is shotzzy dirt of the Optic roster, and is he bringing them down because he's the hottest player in the league right now. There's no denying it, and I absolutely love that as an Optic fan. This is it's great to watch. It's actually kind of insane. Yesterday, Optic Texas played Toronto Ultra, and as most people know, Optic nestload them, and they almost 15-0'd them in the nestload. They almost sweep them on both searches and the control, but in the Game 5 terminal, it did end up throwing a map, and they only won 6-1, and they low-key got slammed on both the hard points. So this was a really, really interesting series to watch, because you watch the first hard point, and you're like, sheesh, Optic really threw some hills. They really did not play well on P1 or P4, so their off the rip game on Rio's kind of whack, and some of their rotations on Rio are kind of whack. The slang's still there. The sub duo is always slaying on that map, but the AR plays kind of weak. But honestly, they were playing against Toronto Ultra, probably the best team on Rio besides Optic and maybe FaZe, so you can't really fault them. Well, I guess you could if you wanted to, but it wouldn't be wise to at this said moment. And then the 6-0 S&D, shotzzy was just getting 2 every round. The invasion, he started like 12 or 13 or 14-0, I don't really remember. He started something and that was ridiculous. It was insane. The Skidrow, they kind of just got slammed. I mean, Ultra had some really, really good holds, beat them on most rotations. Optic really messed up on the P2 in the Skidrow hardpoint though. They ended up getting like 40 to 50 seconds on P1, and then they just bottled the P2 rotation. Ultra tied it up and kind of just ran away from it there. And that's a really big scenario, honestly, because if Optic rotate to P2, they can be up like 80 to 90 nothing, maybe even like 100. So that's where they messed up that map. Some of their key rotations in hardpoint are off, but like I said earlier in the year, or just a couple weeks ago, Toronto's the best hardpoint team, and I think they're going to continue to be the best hardpoint team. And I said the way to beat them was getting them in their control and searches, and Optic found a way to do that, but it was online, and we got to be prepared going in the LAN for in 2 weeks. But today we just want to talk about just the overall dominance of the Optic roster and shotzzy as a player, and how awesome it kind of is to see, because even though Optic's one of the front running franchises, and they're definitely the most popular franchise in competitive Call of Duty, that also brings in the most hate, and they do get doubted a lot, and they haven't won a major in a good 2 years. Like they haven't won a major since 2022, right? I know it was Vanguard Major 1. That was probably early 2022. And that's just honestly insane with how big of a name everyone has in Optic and whatnot. But we're just going to look at the overall KDs just for fun. And most people will be surprised to see that Pred actually has a 1.2 and shotzzy only has a 1.14 for this series, which is kind of funny because shotzzy's getting all the shine and Pred is kind of hiding in the shadows. And another thing I want to point out is, dashy has the constant even, negative, or barely positive, but he's making so much impact on the map with his rotations and just holding spawns and whatnot that dashy's still playing like he was last year, strictly for the win, and I really appreciate that. And we also have Kenny, who just had a low KD, but he made some smart plays. We love Kenny. He's IGL, he's the glue, he's the vibe. We already talked about this, but we're kind of hitting the part of the year where Optic's subs go crazy, and this happens once a year, guys. Like in Vanguard, it was really early, Scump and shotzzy, and they won the major. In MW2, Hook and shotzzy were the best 2 players in MW2 for like 2 majors, even though they only ended up getting second. They didn't win a grand final that year. But my point is, there's always a peak of the year where Optic subs are hitting, and right now we're getting it before stage 2. We don't know how long this peak's going to last. Hopefully it lasts at least the major and the next stage, because last year that's what happened. But overall, this is really, really fun, and I love Scrap, great personality, but it's always really fun to see Scrap getting pissed on. And I think it was on the Karachi S&D where Pred just like flew off like back graveyard on Karachi, and he just mollywopped Scrap, and he just had like this look of shock on his face, and it was just really funny. But overall, I just want to talk about the series and how wrong I was about Optic going into the stage, and how I'm excited to see them playing completely dominant. I'm excited to see them play FaZe at the major. Hopefully they get a revenge series. I'm excited to see them play Toronto on LAN, because I'm still scared of Toronto. I still think Toronto wins the major. I still think Toronto would beat them. on land, because you gotta get a hardpoint map, and Toronto looks absolutely dominant in hardpoint. And we also gotta worry about New York, who's probably not gonna get double first rounded, because they like to do that once a year, and they got it out of the way early this year, as they did last year. So if you guys enjoyed today's video, leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe. Just want to talk some competitive Call of Duty. I appreciate y'all watching. I'll see you next one. Peace.